Welcome to this very quick movement practice for your menstrual phase. This is a very gentle yoga practice that you can use in the first days of your flow or even in the days leading up to your flow where maybe you're still experiencing a bit of that energy dip where you're feeling a bit heavy. This one's really just to get your body moving. We won't move very deeply into any of the postures, but it's really kind of just a whole body movement break. It's a great one to use if you're at your desk and you just have a few moments between obligations or between commitments during your day. It's one that you can use anytime. In today's practice, all you will need is a mat and your breath, and we'll be here for about 20 to 25 minutes in kind of a hip opening practice to support your physiology during the menstrual phase. So we're really working on expanding the bowl of the pelvis, creating some space and awareness in the base of the spine to promote the relaxation response. So you do have those two responses that facilitate healthy flow. So you have the contraction of the uterus and then also the relaxation of the uterus. And so we're kind of trying to let the relaxation be that overriding response. The goal here is really just to create a way for you to connect mind and body in an accessible, a very gentle and low impact way during this phase. So let's get started with today's practice. Thank you for being here for this practice. Let's begin in a standing position. Let your feet be about hips width distance apart. Give yourself some shimmies and shakes until you feel your feet firmly on the ground. Let your shoulders relax down away from your ears. We'll begin here connecting movement with breath. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Send your gaze up, reach through the fingertips. As you exhale, find a cactus shape in your arms. Elbows come to the shoulders, maybe a gentle press back. Inhale, re-extend the arms, send your gaze up, find that elevated enthusiasm for this movement. And as you exhale, let your hands rest down by your sides. We'll move through that twice more. Inhaling, reach the arms up, stretch through the fingertips, find that lengthening skyward. As you exhale, arms come out to cactus. Let your elbows float. Feel that expansion across the chest. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, let them come back down. Last round like this, inhaling. This is one of my favorite movement patterns. Exhale, come to cactus shape, just to connect body and breath. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, lower the arms by your side, come into standing pose, mountain pose. I'll shift to the top of my mat here. Please join me there. And with an inhale, reach your arms nice and tall overhead. Keep a generous bend in your knees as you fold over your legs. Maybe your fingertips reach the floor. Find a bit of a sway of the hips here, side to side, maybe coming onto the balls of the feet, shifting the heels. And then begin to heel toe your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Turn your toes out, heels in. Begin to bend the knees, send your heart forward and up, come into a squat. Don't sweat it if your heels pop off the mat, that's totally okay. Just feel into the stretch of the legs here. Maybe bring the hands to heart. Press your elbows into the inner knees to create that broadening across the bowl of the pelvis. Press your thumbs into your heart. Lift your gaze. This is our first entry into this squat position. We'll revisit it often to create awareness and expansion in the base of the spine. From here, hands touch down, parallel the feet, come into a forward bend. Inhale, lift your spine halfway, stretch from crown to tail. And as you exhale, step your left foot back in space. Come into a nice long lunge here. So the front knee over the ankle, pressing through the back heel. So you feel that separation between the thigh bones. Let your hands come to the inside of your right foot. Turn the right toes out about 45 degrees. So you have this nice invitation to externally rotate that right hip. You can keep the heart stretching forward here. Let the knee touch down, come into lizard pose. You might untuck the back toes and really press down through the top of that back leg. And then come onto your left forearm if that's available. If not, you can stay on the hands. Left forearm comes down. Use your right hand to press your right knee open. And then dial your heart in the opposite direction. You can even come on to the left hip a bit if that feels good. So we're just exploring the right hip here to begin. Breathing, letting your head and neck stay soft. So resisting the urge to kind of hold your body in space. Just let it flow a bit. Let your hands touch back down. Tuck your back toes under, lift the back knee, and we'll turn to face the long edge of the mat. Keep that bend in your right knee. So I'll be opposite you in movement now that we are facing one another. And just allow this to deepen a bit, coming into sensation in the left inner thigh. Feel the gravity stay with you as you keep the hips in the same plane, beginning to switch sides. So now bending into the left knee, breathing space into the hips by inflating the lungs so much that belly, heart, chest expand. And then just a few rounds, kind of at your own rhythm, your own pace, alternating side to side. Maybe you lift the toes of the extended leg, just feeling this mobility in motion. Next time that your left knee is bent, turn to face the other side of your mat now, coming into that nice long lunge, pressing through the back heel, creating lots of space. And then let the back knee touch down. Finding lizard pose here. Turn the left toes out about 45 degrees, maybe heel toe that foot a bit wider. Again, you can stay on the hands if it feels comfortable though. Bring your right forearm out and down so it kind of comes away from your left foot. Left hand dials the left knee open. Soften shoulders away from the ears. And just breathing into this movement, really not making that attempt at going too deeply into any of these postures, just sort of allowing the movement to trickle through the body in this short form practice. And then slowly coming up, tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee, keep the hands at the center of your mat, step your back foot to meet your hands, come back into that squat once again. So we're finding our malasana or garland pose squat here. You can stay where you are, or to deepen the sensation a bit, extend your left arm out to the side, spin your right arm open. So find a bit of rotation in the upper body as you maintain the squat. So really dialing the knees open to keep the pelvic floor expanding, to keep the spine spacious. And then switching sides now. Right arm extends, left arm opens out to the side. Use that right arm to press the right shin, right leg open. Can you soften the shoulders? Just feel that expansion across the chest. And then come back through center. Parallel the feet. Begin to straighten the legs any amount. Find your forward bend. Inhale, lift halfway. And then this time, stepping the right foot back in space, letting the back toes touch down. Turn your heel down to the earth so that the outer edge of your back foot is parallel with the short side of your mat. Keep that nice wide stance and rise in warrior two. Create this proprioception here. So can you feel where your arms are in that horizontal plane, where they're parallel with the earth? Can you dial the left knee open so that you have a line of sight of your left big toe? And then notice that your upper body can move independent of the hips. So even if your hips aren't quite fully open, that's a very challenging position. Can you square the shoulders to the long edge of your mat? Imagine some activation in the arms as if you were resisting a force upward. You've got that strength across the limbs. Send your gaze out over your left fingertips. Then we'll begin to just flow with breath here, inhaling reverse warrior, keeping the deep bend in that front knee, and exhaling side angle, left forearm to thigh, right arm overhead. Twice more, inhale, reverse warrior, maybe find a bind, wrapping the right arm around to the left hip crease. And as you exhale, extended side angle. Last one here. And extended side angle. We'll come up through center now. Keeping the heels turned in, the toes turned out. Bring your hands to your heart. Let your knees bend out to the sides. Find a deep goddess squat here and just allow your hips to move side to side. Finding that length, that broadening of the pelvic floor. And then as it's available, just begin to take your hands to the mat, finding a forward bend, but in this goddess shape in the legs. If it's readily available, you can reach your hands for your ankles and then use your elbows to press your knees open. You should feel some nice stretch across the inner thighs here. Continue breathing. Release your hands to the mat. You can turn the toes to the long edge of the mat and slowly rise in star pose. Just using this as a baseline so we can set up on the second side. Turn the right toes out. Back foot is parallel to the short edge of your mat. Bend deeply into the right knee. Find warrior two here. Again, creating that proprioception. So can you really experience where your body is in space? That requires a touch of presence. Let your mind be here, focused on the sensation you feel in the body. So this asana practice is an exercise in tapping into the senses. So really letting your body experience the sensation. And then we'll begin to flow. So as you inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, forearm to thigh, opposite arm overhead. Really reach through those fingertips. Inhale, reverse. This is one of my favorite fluid movements here. Just creates a bit of a dance with the breath, with the body, with the limbs. Last one here. Come back up through warrior two as you're ready. And then on the exhale, take your hands to the inside of the right foot. Heel toe your right foot out to the side of your mat. Send your heart forward. Step your left foot to meet your hands. Come into that nice deep squat once again. Bring your hands to your heart. Press your elbows into your inner knees. Keep the spine lifted, shoulders relaxed. And here we're simply going to lift the heels, come as high as you can onto your toes. Try not to round in the upper back, and then come down. So if your heels are already lifted, you're just creating a bit more lift, so a bit more elevation, heels from the earth. Last two here. Inhale. And exhale, feel that gravity pull you back down. Last one. Inhale, lift, feel the rising energy. And then lower down. Hands touch the mat, parallel your feet. Forward bend once again. Little sway here. Inhale, halfway lift your spine. And as you exhale, step your left foot back in space. So we're kind of doing half circles back and forth from one side of the mat to the other. Let your hands press down to either side of your right foot. And then just a gentle core engagement here. Hug your right heel to your sitting bone. Find core plank. Round in the upper back. Coil through the low belly. Once again, step your foot between your hands. Begin to heel toe your right foot over to the left. So you've got a bit of this cross shape in that front leg. You can take your hands out in front. Big inhale breath, lengthen through the spine. Come onto the knife edge of that right foot. And then as you exhale, aim your right knee toward your right thumb. Inhale, come back. You can work that leg in the direction of straight. Exhale, knee to thumb. Last one like this. As you inhale, feel that IT band lengthen. And then slowly lower down. This time, let the knee lower all the way to the earth. Coming into half pigeon pose. So in a short practice like this, half pigeon might feel pretty intense. So we want you to make any adjustments that you need to make this a sustainable posture for you. So a couple of things you can do. You can bring the back knee in, have more of a zigzag shape in the legs. You can bring the front heel in towards your body so that your knee is pointing more straight forward, the shin is pointing straight back. But if you feel that you have that mobility in the hips, you can move the shin toward parallel with the short edge of your mat. Flexing right foot. If you do have the back leg extended, make sure that back hip is pointing down. The entire front plane of your back leg pressing into the mat for stability. We'll be here just a breath or two. You can start to fold into this experience of half pigeon. Notice if your shoulders have any tension. Can you soften them? Move your jaw from side to side, maybe chin side to side, so that we know there's no gripping, no unnecessary effort. And we'll take one more big breath here. Inhale. And exhale. And this is a quick practice, so I know you might be wanting to linger a bit longer, but know that this pose is always available for you anytime. As you're ready, bend your back knee. Come into figure 4 or wheel of life posture here. And you'll take your right hand behind you, sweep your left arm up as you lift the hips. Really press down through that left shin to create some space, some length in the left thigh. Arc through the upper back, really offer your heart skyward. And then slowly lower down. Bring your hands to your heart. Make sure that the top of your back foot is down on the mat so that you have a firm plane of your shin on the earth. Then we'll bring our hands to heart. As you rise up onto the shins, reach your arms overhead. Inhale. And exhale, slowly lower down. Just inviting mobility, strengthen the hips. Inhale. And exhale. Last one, big inhale. And exhale. Hands come behind you. We'll simply switch the direction of the knees. And we'll reverse the order here. So taking your left hand behind you, sweep your right arm overhead, lift the hips. Really press down through that right shin. You should feel length across the right thigh, the right side waist. Lift up through the heart, gentle back bend here, and then slowly come down. Once again, make sure the top of your right foot is pressing into the earth, right shin grounded. Let your hands find your heart. 3 rounds here, simply lifting onto the shins, arms reach, and exhaling, slow lower down. So control that descent. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, lower. Last one this way. Inhale and exhale. We'll start to send that right leg behind you. Start with the toes tucked under. Press your hands to either side of your right knee. And then as you press into the hands, lift your back knee, hug your left heel to your sitting bone. Find that core plank shape once again, rounding upper back, coiling through the low belly. And then step your left foot through between your hands. Long spine here. Begin to heel toe your left foot over to the right. You can take your hands out in front of that left foot, come onto the knife edge. Big inhale breath here, lengthen the spine. And then as you exhale, take your left knee toward your left thumb. So this is just preparing for pigeon. Inhale, move that left leg in the direction of straight. It might feel like a lot of sensation. And exhale, come down. Inhale, really press through the knife edge. And exhale, come down this time, letting the entire body lower down, the hips lower down. Again, each side is very unique, so making any adjustments that you need to in your positioning for this second side. So that can be bringing the back knee in or bringing the front heel toward your hips. Once you have your legs in the right position, make sure if your back leg is extended that the thigh is pointing down, that your hip points toward the ground. And then slowly lower in. Know that we're only here for a few breaths, so if you know how to create the sensation, find it here. Really dialing that left hip crease out and open, pressing down with the right leg to create an anchor point so that you can really leverage a bit more space in the left hip. We'll be here 2 or 3 more breaths, just experiencing the sensation. And notice if you are gripping in the base of the pelvis. Can you soften there, particularly during this phase of the cycle where we are encouraging healthy flow? Can you soften and move into the relaxation response? Let that be the overriding mechanism for encouraging your period to flow. And slowly come up, hands touch down. And from here, we'll tuck the back toes under, lift your back knee. If you are in that figure 4 shape, you can simply move back in the direction of the lunge. And we'll step your left foot to the outside of your left hand here. Our last round of Malasana, step your right foot forward to the outside of your right hand. Let your hips sink down once again. So this will be our deepest expression of this posture. We'll come back into that twist. And again, notice these are sort of like exits on a highway. You can take any position that feels like it's your intuitive edge in that moment. So if you're coming along, the left arm reaches out, right arm opens out to the side. We've been here before. It might feel a little bit more expansive. If you want to go deeper, you can start to turn the thumbs behind you so that you're internally rotating the shoulders. And then wrap the right arm around. Maybe the left fingertips wrap around the right wrist. If you're able to find that bind, lift up through the heart. Really soften the shoulders away from the ears. So this shouldn't create any closure of the chest or inhibiting of the breath. Instead, it should just be a way to create a bit of a massage in the side waist there and deepen both the hip and shoulder opening. Slowly release. Switching sides now, right arm extends, left arm opens. Just acknowledging that you might feel different from one side to the other. Maybe you take the bind on one side today and not the other. Again, letting the neck soften by freeing that cervical spine, moving chin side to side. And then slowly let that go. Hands touch down, begin to parallel your feet, find your forward bend. Should feel some sensation, release from the hips, kind of all throughout the limbs now. And then slowly, without urgency, bone by bone, begin to roll up to standing. Just feeling that sensation of being upright. We've been very mat bound for this practice. And as you inhale, reach your arms overhead. And with the exhale, let your hands land on your heart. So palms open, fingers spreading. Find the space of your heart center. If you like, you can close your eyes. Spread your toes in all directions so you feel the 4 corners of each foot really root down. And at the same time, as you root down, can you lift up, feel that reverberation through the legs, up the spine, out the crown. So you have this radiant energy both up and down. With the hands at the heart, especially during this time where we have minimal hormonal interference. So there's an opportunity to connect our mental and emotional currents in a really clear way. So just listen for anything arising in your heart space, anything that is asking gently for your attention. If your eyes are closed, gently blink them open. You can release your hands down by your sides, give it a shake. That is our quick practice for today. And I want to thank you for showing up, for moving your body with me, and for being a part of this collective of women who move by the moon.